strike that are not even ASU. Some internal strike just wake up today. Everybody go home. You get back to you and all of
academic
that.
Staff
No, like all sort of ASU, ISU, all of that. So if you had all of that, minimum 20 years and beyond has been invested. Can we say that it is justified to say, how many certificates are we getting? You get one for primary living, you get for secondary, that is in form of, let's say, junior WAEC. They even give you any statement of result and all of that from the junior WAEC written. Then we get one again as the school certification WAEC and itself. And you get one as, okay, I'm done, I'm not a graduate and all of that. Can we say investing those years, that's all you can get? Can we now zero it down that, is that the point that they refer to Nigerian graduates as not employable? Because as an employer, when I say Nigerian graduates come to my office, come and work, and I say, what do you have? All you just bring is 4 pieces of paper, primary school living certificate, secondary school living certificate, junior and senior, and BSc first class. Then and I look at you that, and I look at you that, oh, am I meant to collect the certificate, frame it, and hang it on the wall, and that's what I'm going to pay you for? I will ask you the question that, okay, what should I pay you 500,000 naira for? Give me a reason why I should count my 1 million naira at the end of every 30-day cycle and give it to you and say, yes, you are a staff of my company. Obviously, I'm not going to give you that 1 million naira because you are giving me some 4 pieces of certificate. You must solve a problem in my organization. And to solve that problem is not the certificate that will solve it, is the skill set that the school has imbibed in you that you bring to the table to solve that problem. So, on my School and Tech, will continue to churn out what you need to add to those pile of those certificates so that you can be relevant and be employable. Thank you very much.
Interesting one. I just want to say this quickly. That does not mean the fact that education is a scam, because some people misinterpret
it's a requirement. It's a minimum requirement.
Yes, they'll then say, it's just to have the skill. No, you need to go through the 4 walls of the
both
education.
of them work hand
in hand.
Yes.
So that is just it. So the question, are Nigerian youths employable? The question is not just all about you going to school, you going through the 4 walls of the school. At the end of the day, you just have to have the skill set, because normal education is meant to transform you. Education Definitely. Is you having the soft skills, is you having emotional intelligence. That is also part of a skill you can have, the ability to relate with other people as well. So your closing remark before we end the show today.
Yes, I will leverage on what you said earlier. Education is not a scam.
Yes.
Okay. What is a scam is incomplete education. When the education is one-sided, it becomes a scam. Because a lot has changed. We have moved from the industrial age to the information age.
Exactly.
And in the information age, what they pay you for is the information that is associated with the skill set you can demonstrate, not the paper that you are bringing as an evidence that you are educated. In fact, the time being educated now means you can do beyond what the certificate says you can do. So on that note, follow us on all our social handles, listen to My School and Tech, join us on another episode, and we'll continue to work step by step, baby steps, on what are those things that will make you to clear the assumption that Nigerian graduates are not employable.
Thank you very much. Interesting one out there. And please do not forget to subscribe and get notified anytime we have any content for you. And you can follow us across all social media platforms at ConsumerHallaTV. I am Iremofe Kufurola, and thank you for watching today.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Good morning, Nigeria, fellow consumers. A beautiful morning to you all. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Consumer Watchdog on ConsumerHalla TV. On the program, we dissect and we break down consumer rights, consumer protection, and consumer safety. We advocate consumer rights every single day on this program. So if you want to stay informed, grab your breakfast, sit back and enjoy the program. I am Ire Ayomikole Eke. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. We're focusing on consumer rights on today's edition of Consumer Watchdog. And consumers have a range of rights depending on a country's law, but the commonly recognized rights include the right to safety, the right to information, the right to choose, and the right to redress. Some legal framework also include right to consumer education, representation, satisfaction of basic needs, and a healthy environment. But today we're taking a deeper look into safety. We all know safety is protection from harm, danger, and risk, and making sure people and assets are well secured. And this is why the consumer right to safety is extremely important. If you're talking about the consumer right to safety, the right to safety absolutely protects consumer from product, production processes, and services that could harm their health or life. As well, it requires business to test their product to meet safety and quality standards, and it definitely provides clear instructions and warning labels where necessary. Consumer safety also prevents harmful products from entering into the market and places full responsibility on manufacturers to ensure safety before anything reaches consumer. And the key aspect of the right to safety include the protection from harm, compliance with safety standards, proper labeling and instructions, the manufacturer responsibility through testing, a proper legal enforcement and avenue for redress. And to help us dissect the conversation better this beautiful morning, to help us break it down clearly, I have with me Barrister Alex Folalu. Good morning, Barrister. Thank you so much for joining us on the conversation.
Yes. Good morning, Mr. Emeka.
I have to give you a handshake. Good morning, Barrister.
Good morning.
Let me give you a
Thank
handshake
you
once
for having
again, because honestly, I wanted to study law.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when I finished my secondary school, but I later knew my strength, so that is why I went into mass communication, actually.
You're doing wonderful work.
Thank you so much, Barrister. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, all the pleasure is mine.
Barrister, the name Afolalu, the name is, to the Yorubas, it sounds mighty and it has a very beautiful meaning. You're from which state?
Thank you. I'm from Ekiti State.
Ekiti State. Wow, interesting. My mom is from Ekiti State.
Oh, really?
A beautiful one. So we're family members. All
I'm
right, Barrister,
telling you.
let's get into the conversation proper. Barrister, how does Nigeria's Consumer Protection Council Act of 2003 define safety, especially in the context of emerging technology?
Okay, the Nigeria's Consumer Protection Act, Council of 2003, how it defines safety. Primarily, it emphasizes on product and service safety. And it talks about avoidable danger. That safety starts from avoidable danger to a consumer's health, property, and all sorts. As a way that when you're releasing a product or service into the market, it must be the case that the product or service must actually ensure that there is actually avoidable danger when a consumer is actually using that product in the course, in the ordinary course of life. So that's actually how it actually talks about safety. But the act has already been enacted before the emergence of these technologies that we actually have today. Like AI tools, like crypto platforms and the likes. But then the core principle still holds sway, which is actually the fact that it is the duty of the producer or the service provider to actually ensure that their product or service is not hazardous to consumers, and they actually have the duty to declare every limitation that a product or service actually has, or whatever may actually cause harm to the consumer. So it primarily defines safety in the aspect of avoidable danger to the consumer, which the producer is actually meant to take caution of that, provided that the consumer uses that product or service in the ordinary course of life, like under normal circumstances. So that's actually how it defines safety primarily.
All right, interesting. Now, to get you well, what you're trying to say is that one of the major role of a manufacturer when producing or bringing out products or services is to make sure that the consumers are safe.
Primarily.
All right. As a consumer, Barrister, let's talk about it. What is the fastest way, to report a safety issue in Nigeria?
Okay, yeah. So if you're trying to report safety issue in Nigeria, the fastest way is actually by lodging a complaint with the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission. Just go to their website, file a complaint. That's about the fastest way. You can also, put a phone call through. You can also chat to them on WhatsApp. Actually, that's about the fastest way. But then there could be instances where it's maybe there's a fire situation. As a way. Now, in that instance, you can actually call it 112. You call it an emergency number. Then afterwards, you can now go ahead and actually file your complaint. More often than not, they always follow through on complaints filed.
All right, Barrister, let us be realistic here. We've seen a whole lot of situations whereby a lot of consumers, they've come across videos like that on the media, whereby they will come saying when they were in issue, they had to call all these FCCPC, they called all the rights commissions, but they were not yielded to their call. And if at all they attend to where the emergency situation is, they come late. What are the factors making the FCCPC and all other commissions related to consumer lacking behind in the aspect of making sure they get to the consumer at the time when the consumer needs their help?
Well, we must actually come to the realization of the fact that the job of the FCCPC is not that of emergency, in honesty. Now, when you file a complaint, the first thing they will do is investigate the complaint you filed. It's going to take a process primarily. Actually, now I mentioned something earlier that in the event where it is actually an emergency